Brian was talking a moment ago about shining up your Thanksgiving turkey today, and there's a turkey right there. Eventually, you're going to gather around the table for the meal, and invariably there will be drinking, and there will be eating, and people will be talking. It's interesting.
Turkey.
There are a couple of the Democrats have put together something called YourRepublicanUncle.com.
Yeah.
And what it says is your Republican relatives often talk about politics, and what they say simply not true. And that's the website.
So it actually gives you a website so that you could take and squash, literally, any of your free-thinking Republican uncle's thoughts. So
Did
if
you
go
say pass
down
the squash?
Yes, exactly. So if you go down and say, for instance, Trump, he'll probably come up at Thanksgiving.
Right.
And if you click him, it says what you will say, I like that Donald Trump, he says what he means. And your response as a Democrat would be, he certainly does say what he means. And most of the time it's xenophobic or sexist or out of touch or totally irresponsible.
Pass
What's
the salt.
really scary is the rest of the Republican field agrees with him.
Right.
And so on. So this is interesting. So it gives you your response because the DNC doesn't want any free thinkers at your Thanksgiving table. They are not thankful for freedom of speech.
For one thing, first off, the headline should be you should not avoid these conversations. This makes Thanksgiving
you should.
fun. No, you shouldn't.
Brian, politics and religion, you never talk about that around the table.
You have to have an interesting Thanksgiving. You can't just sit there and go, wow, look at this table. Is this real cloth?
Right, there's other things to talk about, like what's going on with your family and things like that.
Like, for example,
are you dating anyone?
Right.
Right?
No, my answer would be no.
Your answer would be yes, don't.
Yeah, that would be certain. I mean, they bring up things like, oh, should you, for example, you bring up Donald Trump, that's one thing. What about Charlie Sheen? If someone says, well,
that is not coming up at our table. I bet you $1 million.
Maybe at home, someone's going to say that Charlie Sheen, you know,
what are you supposed
I can't
to
believe how
say?
sick he is. What you're supposed to say is, I wish he'd get back into acting. Good transition. Pass the turnips. How do you make turnips?
See, but what's interesting about the Daily News and also, obviously, the Democrats is what they're doing is they're taking lefty talking points and they're phrasing them in a way, this is the correct answer.
Okay, so we need help here. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to bring in Diane Gottsman.
Diane, come on over
She's
here.
an etiquette expert, and she's
Here,
owner
sit
of the
right here.
Protocol School of Texas. Welcome to Thanksgiving
Thank
Table.
you.
It's about to get awkward. So you have some examples of some sample questions that might be brought up at the table. We're going to start with politics. Okay, so obviously...
Now, that's something to avoid, right? If you can avoid it.
So what do you do?
If you can avoid it. So you have to think about some things that you're going to say when Brian brings up all of these subjects.
And he would.
Yeah, and you're going to say, pass the salt and pepper. So, Brian, tell me, what have you been doing lately? Have you gone on any interesting vacations?
Yeah, I went on a vacation and I protested with Black Lives Matter. Pass the salt. I mean,
how do you deal with that one?
Interesting. So, Steve, what's up with you?
Okay, she's just deflecting.
Yes.
So you're going to go to another person?
Yes. So I'm going to ignore you. Really, I'm going to ignore you in a very positive way, but as the host. So, Steve, let's say you're the host.
Okay.
It's up to you. You're going to shut him down.
Oh, it's the host's
It's up to the
responsibility.
But how
host.
does he do that without being rude?
Hasn't the host done enough already?
Look at this beautiful place setting.
what about-
The food's on its way.
So obviously, politics is something, if you can, it's a third rail of every conversation. Shift away from it if you can.
So here's the deal. Politics is going to be at the table.
What about money? Money's going to come up.
Well, money, politics, those are the things that are iffy. So if someone's asking you, Brian, how much of a raise did you get this year?
Well, I'm going to say, wait a second, who jammed the stuffing in the turkey?
See, you're deflecting.
Right, I'm deflecting. I'm blocking.
You're learning.
I'm blocking.
Can you pretend you're still chewing? That
You can
I'll get to that once I...
That's right, and hope it keeps going back around. So really, it is about deflecting. It's about thinking about what you're going to say before you get to the table, because we know he's going to be sitting at the table.
So someone asks, hey, you know what? I actually need to borrow some money. I've been waiting to bring it up. I know it's an awkward time. How do you respond to that?
It is really an awkward time. Why don't we talk about this later on privately? So in other words,
I can put you to voicemail.
Buy yourself some time to think.
Privately, so we can talk. Not in front of everyone. Okay. And you say it discreetly. Or if somebody wants you to invest in their latest deal, latest and greatest, and it says.
What if, sorry,
Yeah.
I'm now being rude at the Thanksgiving table. I acknowledge
She's deflecting.
Because I'm fearing Thanksgiving.
She thinks I'm going to ask her to invest in my latest.
No, because there were some children running around the table, and invariably somebody's going to say, why isn't she potty trained?
Judgment.
A parenting question.
Isn't she darling? And she is doing great. So this would be my child.
But she's got a wet diaper.
So mom, go change that diaper. But you know what? She's right on track. That's what the mom would say, or the dad would say.
A relationship, two long-term couples still dating. But when are you two going to get married?
You know, we are perfectly happy just like we are. But you know what? If we ever change our status, you are going to be one of the first 20 that we let know.
And Cindy, when are you going to... Do you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend? Well, I shouldn't say that. Are you dating anybody?
And they would say, you know, if this is a teen, because teens don't want to talk about anything. You know, the teen is going to say, I have lots of boyfriends and girlfriends. But, you know, I'm just really concentrating on school. If it's somebody who's just broken up with their boyfriend or girlfriend, wah, wah.
So,
you know,
don't bring it up.
Well, you have to bring something up. We have to talk about something.
The moral of the story is change the subject. If it's something you are uncomfortable with, change the subject.
But we would be changing the subject the whole entire Thanksgiving meal. So it's about being pleasant, and we have to agree to disagree, be neutral. I can disagree with you, but we don't have to have a food fight at the table.
Diane Gottsman,
I do think you should have exciting conversations at the table. It can't all be surface talk, right? We got to have some real conversation.
You have to have some meat.
Yes, thank you.
As long as everybody's on the same page with politics, you're fine. But then when there's that Bernie Sanders
other people can be wrong if they don't agree with you. I mean, they advertise.
It can be fun and lively, just not a big, huge argument.
There you go. That comes later, out in the driveway. All right, the big argument.